So we have the brand new Ultra Gear monitors in studio finally from LG, and one of them is like pretty much my favorite monitor right now. You may have seen the short that I posted on it, and I'll kind of explain why it's so special as we move through this video, but we're actually going to talk about a few different monitors in the lineup, and maybe you can identify whichever one is best for you. We've got a 34 ultra wide 800R curve. Next to it we have the 39 800R ultra wide curve. Now these are both 1440p gaming monitors, 240 hertz refresh rate, very bright displays, and there's actually another model as well. There's a 45-inch that slots in here also. Essentially, the specification is the same as these two, just scaled up. I mean, you can see this comparison. We have this particular model set up. The brightness here, very comparable to the MacBook Pro display, at least when we have them teamed up in this particular fashion. Now, as far as connectivity is concerned, I should mention at this point, they have really simplified the design language on the back of these things. We've got RGB lighting still in there, subtle, matte finish, and my favorite part about the redesign is the base. I kind of get bugged by bases that are unnecessarily wide or large, and it screws up the ergonomics or the things that you can place in front of it, near it, and then also important to me is how close can you place it to the wall if you're tight for space and you've got your desk right up against. We have DC in, external power brick. Of course, you've also got a USB hub built in, so we have upstream and down. There's a secondary HDMI, which is nice if you did want to have two sources. We've also got DisplayPort. So the only difference between these two models is not resolution, it's just display size. So here you're just going to decide whether or not you prefer 34, or if you prefer 39, or if you prefer 45. All right, now let's get to, in my opinion, the main attraction. This is the new 32-inch Ultra Gear monitor, and it does something that no other monitor I've ever seen can do or has done. By the way, these are all OLED displays now, which is just, compared to gaming monitors of the past, such a refreshing image to look at, and so much more comparable to the monitors you may be using for productivity or enjoying as far as a TV is concerned. I've put these side by side with non-OLED, and you're just, I mean, it's obvious that the image quality, that amazing contrast, those really deep blacks, it's just a superior image. But the drawback, or one of the apprehensions people would have as far as OLED is concerned, is like, how do you get a high refresh rate? And that's what they've tackled here. So this dual mode allows you to either have the display in 4K resolution, which is its peak resolution, at 240 hertz, which is already fantastic for an OLED display. Like, I can get 240, 4K and OLED. Imagine the immersiveness, the image quality. But I can hit one button, this little button here underneath the display, and switch to a 1080p 480 hertz mode. So you can see dual mode activated, and thankfully we have a GPU here in this case that can actually push 480 frames. So if I open up Overwatch, I can actually achieve that and see that buttery, smooth, incredible movement, especially when paired with the very fast response time of 0.03 across the entire lineup here. Now that feature that I just mentioned is exclusive to this particular model. And for some of you wondering or thinking, hey, 32 for like a high refresh monitor, because those are typically 27, maybe even 24. For those competitive FPS games, am I gonna be sitting too close to it? Is it going to be too big? Well, if you can just simply push the display further away from you at 1080, 480, it kind of behaves like having a 24, 27 a little bit closer. And I understand the reason why you would go with 32 inches for a display like this, because you're trying to give people a 4K OLED experience for everything else they do on their screen. But if you don't have the depth, LG thought about that on this monitor. Let's say your desk is something more like standard, like around here or here, and it's not as deep as this. This is really cool. You can actually make this display behave like it's a smaller display. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Over here, I have options for off, full wide, 27 and 24. My recommendation, leave it on full wide. And this is just a feature that should be so much more widely available because it's obvious. This is useful. Of course, you have other gaming specific features like the ability to have crosshairs to turn on, FPS counters. We have our different settings for brightness, contrast, and then sound. Now sound we're gonna listen to in a second here, but what they did, surprising. The sound feels like it's emanating from the display rather than speaker grills or bouncing off of anything. It feels very central. I've listened to the audio from a number of different monitors. Often it's not good enough that I would even think I would use it, but here, you don't even feel like you need to have extra outboard gear. It's pretty impressive. It does have DTS Virtual X on there. Controls for our hexagon lighting as well. You can see we can have it cycle, the RGB on the back, but we can also have it static for any color we choose. I've currently got it in the 480 Hertz dual mode and 1080p. Like, you can't pinpoint where it's emanating from. It just feels very front and center. It's just like you don't expect to have any kind of bass or clarity, and I don't know, just it's like an afterthought when they put speakers in a gaming monitor, because they're like, well, the guy's gonna have a headset on anyway, which of course you could, but it's a nice little bonus without the need for any kind of outboard gear in case you want to use it. Where is everyone? Is this person just chilling? They're not even moving. Woo! Definitely a sniper, eh? Just throwing these lousy little cards? Yep. That was my fault. That was my fault too. That was totally my fault. I just like ran up in there. Damn, dude. Oh, hey. No. Man, these numbers are not looking good right now.
Score 0-1.
Well, there's a tank here. Ooh, well. Well. Oh! Give me some. Why did they go up there? Why did we go up there? We defend.
Score
1-1.
I got the tank. I got the next guy. Should be good, right? Not a lot of guys left there. There it is! Victory! It's because of the monitor. I needed 480. It's 2024, and this is the state of the art, really, as far as gaming monitors are concerned. It has a ridiculous feature set, like a spec sheet that people would only wish for. I remember when OLED first hit TVs, and I was like, oh, this looks amazing, and everyone said, oh, it's not gonna come all the way down to PCs and laptops, and of course we're seeing it pop up everywhere. Ability to change the size of it, shrinking the base for it, even though you still have your adjustments, your ability to go up and down, and then obviously the resolution to be able to get 4K when you want it with the one switch. I hit the button, dual mode gets activated, I go from 1080p 480 to 4K 240. It's the best of both. It's for a lot of people who had one gaming monitor and then a different monitor for productivity and resolution. Now you just have one monitor that can do all of it, and that's pretty appealing. So anyway, I think this one's gonna go on my desk. I feel like I'm gonna play some games on this and do some work on this, and there's not a lot of monitors that have been able to do both of those things without compromising too much in one area or the other. Very cool.